Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Simon and this is the beginning of a new weekly reading vlog. As I'm recording this, it is late morning on Sunday the 3rd of April and we are amidst a bit of decorating shenanigans going on. So I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done today. However, I have got reading plans for this reading vlog. So I guess it is a themed reading vlog and the theme is going to be, and you may be able to guess if you've been watching this channel for a while, all those shelves are empty, and that's where I was keeping my Women's Prize long-listed books for 2022. And this week I'm going to try and read as many of the long-listed Women's Prize 2022 books as I can, because next week or tomorrow, as you see this, my mother will be staying, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to record our sort of shortlist predictions or what we would like to see on the shortlist. I'm not sure how far she is in reading the 18 books. No, I actually don't know how many of the 16 books Mum has read, because even though we catch up, like, obviously because we're mother and son, so we have a catch up once a weekish, we don't tell each other how we're getting on or what we're reading, because we like to keep it a surprise for when we record our shortlist predictions. So yeah, I have read 4 already. I'm not going to go into like all the ins and outs of all of them because I think that would get way too long, and my vlogs have been getting way too long anyway recently. But I've read these 4: The Island of Missing Trees by Leif Schwack, This One Sky Day by Leonie Ross, or Pop Show as it's known in America, Ruth Ozeki's The Book of Form and Emptiness, and Flamingo by Rachel Elliott. I have read parts of Build Your House Around My Body by Violet Cooper-Smith, Remote Sympathy by Catherine Chidgey, The Exhibitionist by Charlotte Mendelsohn, and A Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. I've stopped them for various different reasons. The only one I've DNF'd so far is this one, but I will talk about that in the video with Mum. I've given something away. I hope I shouldn't say this. I am no mathematician, as you can tell. I wasn't able to work out how many books were on the long list initially, but that leaves me with these 8 long-listed books that I have not read yet. Now, I don't think I'm gonna, and I'm not even gonna try to read all 8 of these in a week. I don't think that would be helpful. What I'm trying to work out at the moment is what order I'm gonna sort of attack the long list, as it were. And, let me just get it. The book that I'm going to start with tonight is Louise Erdrich's The Sentence. I'm really excited about this one, and the reason that I'm starting it first is because me and Ewan of now then, is it Hardback Hype Beast, sorry Ewan, are going to be doing this as a buddy read. It's ghostly, there's works going on, it's ghostly, I'm just going to go for it. It's ghostly and it's set in a bookshop, and I just think I'm going to absolutely love this. Sorry, the works got really, really noisy, so I took the opportunity to have a refreshment break. So any minute, my cistern is going to make that really weird noise it does when it's full after a flush. I only had a wee. I think I'm over explaining this. Let's all move on. Sorry, the works got really, really loudly, so I'm going to use this as a reason to wrap up speedily. But I haven't quite decided what I'm going to head to between the chunks of daily pages that me and Ewan are going to get through The Sentence with. I think it'll have to be something quite different from it, so I think that sort of rules that one out, although I think that's the one that I'm the next most excited about. Anyway, we shall see. I shall let you know. I need to get on with choosing more decorating, which sort of links into a little bit of yesterday that I thought I would share with you before I tell you about what's coming up this week, because there's a few things coming up this week. Yesterday, I ended up going book shopping in Lingham's because I wanted the finished copy of Sorrow and Bliss. I had a proof, but that was also before what we thought was my father-in-law's 80th turned out not quite to be the case. And then we went to a very last minute musical, which I think really links in with the theme of this video, so I thought I would include it. So here's that.
Okay, so you've got £10 on there.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So we've been for Chris's dad's not 80th birthday. Not 80, we found 79. Out. 79.
Who knew? Oops. Well, he did.
He knew. And we've been and got some tester paints for the bedroom. We didn't go with Farrow & Ball's Dick's Blue. No. It was too Dicky. Icy.
Oh.
Dicky.
Dicky.
Nothing can be too dicky. Anyway, moving on I have, in a last minute moment, after speaking to Pip on the phone, because she got recognised at the theatre today because of Crime Time, which
Hello,
is
Pip.
hilarious. Hi Pip. We have now booked, well, I have now booked last minute tickets to go and see
We have.
Fantastically Great Women. I booked them. Did you actually book them?
No.
Right, I booked them. So that's a surprise last minute event, which
Oh,
Chris
was it
is
called
always
again?
so good with. I think it's like Fantastically Great Women or something.
Fantastically Great.
But it's by the people who did Six.
Which I loved.
So that's what we're gonna go and do after we get home, do some tester pots and then go out again. Testing new bedroom paint at the moment. I like the old colour the best. So that was yesterday, and Fantastically Great Women Who Changed the World, which is based on this book by Kate Pankhurst, was absolutely brilliant. Like, it wasn't fantastically great, it was utterly phenomenal. And if you get the chance to go, you must. And I think it's kind of the perfect sort of musical and book to mention during a women's prize video. So I have. This week, as you saw yesterday, some blue paint was chosen. None of it was right, so I'll have to go and pick some more shortly, and hopefully we'll get the right colour. This is all my fault because I bought a new bed and it's not the same colour fabric as the last one, and it just threw everything up, but also the room needed painting anyway, and that's, yeah, all down to me. And you know, Chris is very much, oh, let's just pick a colour and paint it. And I'm like, no, the colour has to be really, really right. It has to be spot on. So that's causing a few issues, possibly some tensions. Hopefully that'll all get decorated this week. Let's see. But also this week, tomorrow, I start a new job. So I'm going to tell you all about that just before I start tomorrow morning. And then I'm going down to London on Thursday before recording with Melanie and doing book clubs. I need to fit that book in, but I won't talk about it here because I want you to go and see that video elsewhere over on the Frank Book Club YouTube page. Once it's done, I'm hopefully seeing Pip as well this week. So that is the plan. Let's get paint picking again. 3 different trips to DIY shops to find blue. How are these blue? How are some of these blue? What is going on? Anyway, we think, found a new blue for the already blue bedroom.
Completely normal. Oh, I'm so hot. Yes, you're in Egypt. It's malaria.
R.I.P. our bed. Goodbye, goodbye. Can you get it in? As the nun said to the vicar. Morning everyone, it is Monday, and I didn't used to work on Mondays, but I do now because I've taken on a new project 1 day a week on top of Story Trails, which is the role that you'll see where we're off out to 15 different libraries across the UK and Northern Ireland, collecting stories from people, turning them into augmented reality, which will be an augmented reality roller coaster that we're going to take to all of those 15 libraries over the summer. Anyway, this is on top of that, and it is, like I said, 1 day a week working on the BBC's Big Jubilee Read, which is a celebration of literature over the last 70 years from around the Commonwealth. And I have joined them as their creative programmer, and I'm working with 6 different library groups from across the country, or regions, library regions is probably best, and working with them to find out what sort of event they'd like, and then curating that event, creating it. It's very, very exciting. And some of the authors that I'm being given access to because of the list of books which will come out on April 18th, I think it is, so keep your eyes peeled for that, is amazing. It is going to be a lot to take in. I've done a few hours here and there, but today's like my proper first day in it. I need to get the 6 events pretty much planned by the end of the day, and which authors I want to use in which events. So there's that. Speaking of authors though, and that was a really bad segue, but reading, Louise Erdrich's The Sentence. I started this last night and ended up reading up to page 85 because I read some more this morning to get to the end of the second part. And so far, it's a bit of a mixed bag. The first segment is about Tuki, who ends up working in this bookshop with a ghost, which I knew from the blurb. And it's how she ends up doing something illegal and going to prison, which she didn't mean to do or didn't know was as bad as... I mean, it's basically moving a body the body of a woman's lover, the woman of whom Tukey has a crush on, but she's taking this woman's lover's body from their other lover. I just found it a little bit like if you pick it apart too much, it just kind of, but I went with it. And then in the second part, we get to see Tukey after she's left prison. Again, how she leaves prison, like you could pick apart a little bit. She's working at this bookshop, which happens to be Louise Erdrich's bookshop in real life. And Louise is a character, and Tukey, there is some kind of meta stuff going on. It's quite good fun. But also there's lots of love about books and recommending books and characters that come into the bookshop, including Flora, the most annoying customer who comes to the bookshop, who dies and then starts haunting the bookshop. And now there may even be a cursed book involved. So yeah, there's a lot of characters to get to know, which I think at the moment I am bemused by it. Amused, but also mainly bemused. So I'm going to see how I get on with it. I don't know how much more I'm going to read today, because first day on a new job, lots of stuff to take in. Then we'll report back, because I might just want a night of some telly. Speaking of telly, actually, we watched Death on the Nile last night, which was all right. It wasn't as good as the last one, but French and Saunders were in it, and I loved their storyline. And I also love the one out of Sex Education and Wonder Woman, so I was kind of watching it for them. I'm dreadful with the names of actors and actresses. I do that whole thing of, you know that film with you know who in it? Yeah. Anyway, I need to crack on, so I'll catch up with you when I've read more, be it later on today or possibly tomorrow. Morning everyone, it is Tuesday the 5th of April and I am on the floor having just done some Zooms. It's mid-morning. Somebody took over the whole sofa this morning and then moved as soon as I finished Zooming and got all small and demure just in this spot for filming. Interesting. Anyway, little secret for you all, I have been Zooming, don't tell anyone, in my pyjamas, although they are out because this is a Ruth Erdrich t-shirt that kind of sent me. Obviously, she's on the Women's Prize long list. Speaking of Women's Prize long list, I thought I'd give you an update on Louise Erdrich's The Sentence, which I'm now 120 something pages into. And since we last spoke, I've only read 40 pages. Oh, Oscar decided to make himself known. I was a bit unsure when I last spoke to you when I was about 80 pages in. And it has definitely grown on me again, as we have got to sort of know more about now this possible cursed book, but also we're finding out about Flora and something to do with her death, which is unexpected. And it's gone back, interestingly, to looking at sort of bodies and what we do with bodies and the weirdness around dead bodies. And in this case, how what we do with dead bodies can sometimes go wrong. So there's kind of this comical element with death, which is a repeat of before, but also we meet Tukey's stepdaughter, who we find out has had a newborn baby, and so we're also looking at new life. And I don't know if that's something that Louise Erdrich is like trying to do, but anyway, there's also a wonderful segment where Tukey is introducing us to one of the customers who I think is called dissatisfied or disgruntled or something, but basically he's a really tricky customer, literally, to pick books for, but kind of if you find the right book for him, he will then read everything by that author and it makes you feel amazing. But then if he comes in disgruntled, oh, you feel fearful. That was really lovely. And I do love the bookshop elements in here. I need to now go and get dressed because don't dress for my colleagues, but I do dress for the bed delivery men who will be coming around at some point with the new bed. Woohoo! And finally, maybe we'll make 100% decision on the blue paint situation. Speaking, actually, there was a whole segment on blue paint in this book earlier on. So there we go. There's 1,000 different blues apparently. I feel like I know that. I'm also going to be filming about the International Booker shortlist. I've been given an early sneak peek. I'm recording that for Sky Arts Book Club Extra later, and I need to do a March book haul video to go on my channel later. So lunchtime I might not get much reading done because I'm going to be filming. Hi everyone, it is almost the end of lunchtime now, and I have filmed my International Booker shortlist video for Sky Arts Book Club Extra. That video should be live now. I always link them down below if you want to go and find out more. I didn't have all 6 of the books, I only had 4 of them. I don't have the John Foss, but I am tempted to get the first in the trilogy, which is actually a septology. That said, I don't really feel like books past like the first in a series should be submitted for book prizes, because surely you're not going to get the most of it unless you read all of them. So that's my thoughts on that one. And then with the books of Jacob, I won't lie, put off by the size. Also, I know I'm going to have a lot of reading to do over the forthcoming weeks for something that I maybe have just filmed for, who can say. Also, I kind of want to try one of her early ones, because they appeal to me in terms of story more. Like, I think Drive the Bones of Your Dead Body with a Plough or something. That one, that isn't the title, that one kind of intrigues me the most. I actually do have one of her earlier works somewhere up there, which I think is like called Primeval or something. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on that. But I do know what I'm going to read next for Women's Prize, because I'm going to take an evening off the sentence, as Ewan is a bit behind me, so I want to let him catch up. And I thought, actually, what I fancy doing tonight when I've got the house to myself is just kind of curling up with a really good story that's going to like hook me and drag me through. And I've heard Paper Palace is that book, so I'm going to try that later, and I shall report back on how I get on. I'm intrigued by it. I have heard generally, well, no, actually, it's a real Marmite one. There are lots of people whose opinions I trust who love it, and there's a couple of people whose opinions I trust who really hated it, so that also intrigues me. So that's going to be my next pick, and I will catch up with you when I have read some later on this evening. So exciting times for everyone. Well, possibly not, I don't know. Morning everyone, please, I'm holding this book up straight away. Oh dear. Morning everyone, it is Wednesday, as you'll have seen, because the bin men have been, bin content is back. Possibly back for a couple of weeks, and it won't be for a few, but I know how much you like to see it. I wasn't very comfortable and I need my knee to lean on, so I moved. I need to get a small tripod that's good for just filming at home and sort of wandering around with a little bit. If you have any recommendations, let me know in the comments down below. Right, the Paper Palace. So I'd heard mixed things about this. I was surprised how much I loved it. I devoured well over a third of it, almost half of it, I would say. And we meet Elle, who the previous night has had sex with her best friend, who she's known for years and years and years, while her husband and his wife and their families were all not very far away, and it's kind of changed everything. And what I love is how then it splits from what's going on and what follows on from that moment, but also we go back to Elle's childhood and learn quite a lot about her and her mother and her relationship with her mother and her mother's relationships, which have kind of formed Elle quite a bit, as our relationships with our parents do. I just love the unravelling of this sort of family history, whilst also we're getting this unravelling of Elle herself and what's going on and how this has made her question everything. She's really happily married to Peter, she's got lovely children, so why has this happened? And that I really, really like. There's just something immensely readable about it. Like, when you pick it up, you just can't put it down. Now, I say that, I did end up putting it down because I could have probably binged this all last night, if I'm honest. But what came up was that we're changing into the perspective of Jonas, who is her best friend, who she's had sex with quite a few times, actually. And actually, speaking of that, I have no problem with the sex scenes. There was some sudden, unexpected talk of child abuse, which took me quite by surprise and I wasn't quite ready for, and so I just want to give a warning about that. Also, there was one line, and it can happen kind of with a book where one or two lines can just make you go, and there's one line where she described her sex swelling. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about their private parts when they're excited like that, and that seemed a little bit Victorian out of somewhere. Anyway, little thing, maybe not little thing, who can say. Moving on, let's not go down that route. We're now going into Jonas's perspective, and I was enjoying Elle so much and the format so much, I was a bit like, ugh. And then I ended up just, like, once I'd read that first segment, randomly going off on a massive YouTube tangent of point of view roller coaster ride videos. I was on them for about an hour, and then out of nowhere I decided that I would go and not stalk exactly, but go and secretly watch somebody who I used to work with years ago who has a vlogging channel, and yeah, ended up down that rabbit hole too. So that was yesterday evening. I need to get dressed. This is not a work shirt, it's my pajamas. And then it's another day of the old working at work. I will have a catch up with you later when I've read more or have something else to say. It is lunchtime. I've been having some thoughts about vlogging and stuff, and I thought I would share them with you while I open a mini pile of books that have turned up, because I was thinking about this a lot yesterday. What I might do is keep reading vlogs every week, but I am thinking, and when I say what I'm about to say, don't say, oh Simon, you're putting loads of pressure on yourself, because I actually think this would be better. I'm thinking I might start a second channel where I just do like vlogs of where I go on my travels. I'll still have snippets of that in my weekly reading vlogs, but I realised that with Sal, I would have loved to have done like a whole vlog on Sal, but I kind of ended up doing it with what I was reading while I was on holiday, which will appeal to some and won't appeal to others. And I'm always thinking about doing stuff that kind of not expands my audience, but I guess sort of does, if you know what I mean. Anyway, sorry, one more sleep because I've opened this parcel. Oh, the folk at Faber have sent me 3 William Golding books, which I don't know. I read Lord of the Flies for the first time a couple of years ago and really enjoyed it, but I can't say I'm rushing to read him again. I also will say, sorry Faber, because I do love you and you send me amazing books and you publish a Quickie and Meze, but that as a series of books is really boring cover-wise. Like that's too obvious a kind of thing, isn't it? Anyway, and also there's stuff that Chris really likes doing with his cooking and stuff, and maybe moving that there, and also me and Chris sort of doing more of what we're doing when we're on holiday rather than it being what I'm doing and what I'm reading. That's just what I've been thinking of. Anyway, this is a finished copy of Electra by Jennifer Saint, which is shaming me, frankly, Wildfire, because I still haven't read what was the first one? It'll be in here. Ariadne, that was it. I haven't read Ariadne yet. So, but there, thank you very much. That's kind of what I've been thinking about, and it's made me feel a bit, not better about stuff, because I wasn't feeling down about stuff, but I think with my reading vlogs, I'm almost trying to do too much in one thing. Oh, I'm excited for this, Theatre of Marvels, because, is this still recording while it's telling me that I've got, I need to go into low power mode, and I didn't know if that stopped it recording or not. Anyway, I know that, was it this book or was it another one that Elizabeth McNeil really loved? I need to check in with her and check, but yeah, so there we go. So yeah, I just thought as well, with then focusing my reading vlog more on what I'm reading and the booky parts of my life, it means that I can include like when there's like a bulk of, well, or like a mini haul and stuff during the week. And yeah, I don't know, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to know. A finished copy of My Name is Yip, which I had 2 proofs of by Paddy Crew and have not read yet. I'm not really sure what it's even about, but yeah, we'll look into that. I've just had the vibe that it's not going to be a very mini book. Is that really bad? I was hoping one of these was going to be something I've ordered from Blackwell's, but it isn't. This is How to Read Now. Looks like a bomb on the front. How to Read Now by Elaine Castillo. A series of essays I still have not read, and actually I think me and CJ Reads said we'd do it as a buddy read and never did. Elaine Costello's novel, which I can see in front of my eyes even though I can't. Oh, what's it called? America's Not the Heart. There we go. We said we'd do a buddy read of that because Grace really loved it, and then we both got excited about it, but we haven't. And I may, CJ, if you see this, shall we do that? We need to get to it at some point, shall we? I'd love to do a buddy read with CJ Reads. Anyway, so let me know what you think about my decision to potentially start another channel where, and I was just thinking of it because when we go to Italy, like we're going to be going to one amazing seaside town, and I'd really like to get some really lovely snapshots of that. But it could end up being so much that on top of what I read while I'm away, it could just be too much of a thing. And also then we're going to another city for 3 days that I'd like to do some sort of separate vlogging of. And then I'm off to Northern Ireland doing the Giant's Causeway and stuff. So I just thought there could be, as I was doing that, and the 15 different cities that I go to over the summer, it could be nice to kind of keep that. I've also got plans possibly to go to New York later this year, possibly go to Lanzarote, because I've decided I love volcanic islands to go and stay on, and also Amsterdam, because one of my friends is out in Amsterdam, also an amazing Amsterdam, so I might try and see if she wants to say hello. And I haven't been for years, and I really loved it there, and I just thought, when you've got a mate living there, you should be making the most of that, shouldn't you? I need to go and make fish finger sandwiches inspired by Grace of GK Reads. He's building a bed that doesn't go with any of the paints that we've chosen. He's building a bed that doesn't go with any of the paints that we've chosen. Thursday, and there's a bit of an irony here because the paint that we laughed about, Dick's Blue, ha ha ha, Dick's Blue, is actually now looking like it could be the one, although I think it might be a bit cold. We're in the car. Where are we going, Chris?
I don't know, please.
And are we going to go look for another blue?
No.
No. What are we going to look for now?
Red!
Red. Not quite red, and definitely not pink. 3 new favourites. Hi everyone, it is later on Thursday, and I have got changed today more times than we've debated different paint colours. Actually, possibly not as much. More on that in a little bit. But the reason that I wanted to pop this on is I've just filmed my wrap up for March, and sadly discovered earlier today that David McKee has died, who created Elmer, and Elmer is like one of my favourite childhood characters. Kind of, my mum was saying this to me, like the first possible gay icon in sort of children's fiction that I discovered. He's celebrated for his difference and lots of bright colours, and actually is possibly my fashion icon of now. I don't think I would be necessarily the reader that I am today without Elmer, maybe. So that was a bit sad. Some happy news before we talk about the woes of paint and actually talk about some books, because I haven't for a while, is Chris's 40th birthday present to me has arrived. How gorgeous is that? It is natural emerald, and it's a bit dull actually in this light. There you go, that's a bit better. It's natural emerald and recycled gold, and I wanted a big chunky emerald or turquoise ring for ages, and he got me this, and I just love it. Moving on from that, let's talk about books, because as you may have noticed astutely, I was not reading The Paper Palace earlier today before work, and again actually on lunch, and I finished, well I say on lunch, I finished work at lunchtime, but I read for a bit after I finished work. I finished The Paper Palace last night. I just carried on devouring it. Now I know I said I was a little bit nervous when I last spoke to you about how it was shifting from Elle's perspective to Jonah's, and then it actually shifts again to Peter's, and in doing so reveals all these different perceptions on the, I guess I want to call it the situation between the three of them, but also secrets that everyone's hiding, and then brings in, I was worried it might change, and it does change in a way, because we follow on from where Elle's story was taking us in the past, then on to other characters as they get to know Elle from that point. And like I said, it's all the secrets and everything, but also some brilliant characters come into it. As it goes on, Elle's mum becomes more and more of like a force in the novel. I mean, she's a pretty big force from the beginning on, but when she meets like Peter, she's awful to him. But Peter's mother is this proper English matriarch, and I found it so readable, and I loved what I know has caused consternation with some, the ending. I thought the ending was actually really brilliant. I won't say any more, I don't want to spoil it, and maybe I'll talk about it a little bit more when me and Mum do our breakdown of what we would put from the long list to the short, because I think I would put this on my shortlist, maybe, we'll see. I've just really found it so, well, I've just devoured it, haven't I? So and interestingly, the themes of kind of mothers and trauma really come to the fore in the book that I've headed to next from the long list, which is The Bread the Devil Knead by Lisa Allen-Agostini. And this is set in Trinidad, where we meet Alethea. She is working for a fashion company, and she is sort of quite downtrodden, but interestingly not in the way was it Lucia in The Exhibitionist by Charlotte Manson. She was downtrodden and whiny. She is downtrodden and factual, yet brimming with this kind of energy. I can't say joy because what she's going through in life is awful. Anyway, we meet her as she's in that situation with work. She's having an affair with her boss. She's also in an abusive relationship with her partner, her common law husband. They've been together for about 5 years. And what happens is she bumps into, in a church that she doesn't tend to go to, her long lost brother. What happens is we get to hear how her brother came into her life because he was brought in by her uncle as her cousin and left with her and her mother. And the way that Lisa writes about how a young child just instantly bonds with another young child. I mean, children can be awful to each other, but it's just beautifully done. That made me actually cry. I thought it was so beautifully done. But also makes us look back at Alethea's childhood, and we get alternating every few chapters. We get a chapter from January, from when she was 5, leading up to something that you just have a feeling with Lisa's writing is going to be awful. There's a real sense of dread and ominousness in the writing. But also we follow her up to a point which is on the back of the book, which has taken up to about 95 pages to get to, which is where I am now, where a woman is killed by her abusive husband, and the police basically say to Alethea, this could be you, and so do her friends, and she's sort of denying it, and we're looking at why she's allowing herself to be in the situation that she is. So yeah, so far, really, really hooked. I will say the quality of paper is a bit rubbish. I've had to tear into a few pages to like open them, which aren't good. But other than that, really into it. And this colour, interestingly, has informed pretty much the sudden decision that we thought we'd decide to do red instead of blue walls, as you will have seen. Anyway, I've talked for ages now. I need to go and feed Foster, also known on Instagram as the Stalker Cat, because sometimes he just likes to sit on the garden furniture and stare through the window at us like we're a huge TV. And then I think it's more decorating this evening. Decorating. Whose idea was it to change all of the paint and everything in the room? Mine! I'm filming this on my work phone because currently mine is uploading my latest wrap-up. But I'm going to go and feed Foster. So let's go. Someone was here to greet me. Yeah? You hungry? Oh, yes. Come on then. Paint update. Loving. Hi everyone, it is Friday the 7th? No, 8th of April. And as you can see, the room is pretty much finished. I'm so looking forward to sleeping here tonight. It's untrue. But I have lots to do before bedtime, as we will discuss. However, I finished another book, and I thought, as the sort of colours on the cover of this book did slightly inform the colour of this room, I talk about it in here. It's The Bread the Devil Need, and as you can see, it's more that bottom colour than this colour. I don't want to give too much away with this book because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, and I do urge you all to read it. It's another one that I've raced through, and I'll be honest, this and The Paper Palace have not exactly given me faith in this year's long list or brought my faith back to the Women's Prize, but they've definitely been what I've enjoyed reading, and sort of, I don't know, they've seemed, I don't know. What's this about? Well, I told you a little bit what it's about. We got to the point where Alethea, there's a shooting in the street she works in, and a woman is killed by her husband, who we discover is abusing her, and the police say to Alethea, this could be you. And we follow on from there and sort of get more of an insight into her childhood. We find out some stuff that she doesn't know about in her present, and revelations come to the fore that are heartbreaking and quite horrific to read. There is child abuse described in this book, not to a gratuitous nature, but certainly to an incredibly disturbing, horrific nature, but it does feel in keeping with the book. I don't feel like it was being done to shock or anything else. It does look at the trauma we endure at any age, actually, how that affects us later in life, and I guess The Paper Palace does that in a lot of ways too. Anyway, moving on, because that's not the book I'm talking about, but the reason I think I'm talking about The Paper Palace and this book is that they do talk to each other in a really interesting way. So Yeah, I thought this was really, really impressive. I did mention I wasn't sure about the quality of the paper, and that kept happening, which is just a bit of a sad thing when you're having to like tear open pages. But in terms of the writing, I thought that Lisa Allen-Agostini did brilliantly with this. It just has a real lilt to it. It's in the patois of the language, which it just flows wonderfully even during some of the hardest bits of writing. And yeah, I just thought was really, really, really good. It's gone now from me being like so sure which books would easily make my personal shortlist to actually there being a little bit of a fight now from some of the other books, and that excites me. That makes me very, very, very excited. Nothing compares to a Leaf yet, but still there's now like a bit more of a battle for the other 5 for me. And I've got to do the second half of Sorting the Shelves 2 for this year, and then sort out the spare room and also the other spare room. One, because my mum's coming and we're moving out of it and back up here, but also because the other room is just like, it's my clothes dumping ground. It's a disgrace. It does lead me on to what I'm going to read next, actually, because I'm going to start listening to Opal and Nev and see how I get on with that. So that is the plan today. I will catch up with you when I've got more to say about books. Not more to say about paint, thankfully. Millie, do you like the new bedroom? You do. Good Lord, my hair. It is Sunday, the 10th of April, and first of all, hello to the new red paint, which I'm loving. Not sure about yellow. It says swearing bright yellow. Not sure about yellow in here. Gold definitely, but not sure about yellow. Anyway, you didn't get any content from me yesterday because I had a massive Durkins flare that started on Friday evening. Like, I had the pangs. I think it was sorting out the library. I think I overdid it a little bit possibly, and I need to remember not to do that. So yeah, I've been either in bed or on the sofa watching Selling Sunset. That has been the last sort of 24 hours, which has not been very good for me reading the Women's Prize. As you can see here, I've got 4 of them. I've got Careless, Salt Lick, Sorrow and Bliss, and Creatures of Passage. I haven't had to any of them. What I have been listening to is Opal and Nev, and once I'm up and about, I'll have a catch up with you about sort of what my plan is with the Final Four, because Mum is arriving tomorrow and we are going to try and film our thoughts, so I need to have read some of these. I will say Sorrow and Bliss, I found out I might need to read for something else later in the year. And if I've got projects where I've got things to read, sometimes I read far too close to the deadline, but I do prefer to read closer, because if I'm interviewing the author or anything like that, I just want to have it quite fresh in my brain. And then what I really, really want to do is, because I haven't been out for a while, and I didn't go out that much last week actually, other than just like to the garden to go and sort the bins out or something, and there has been bin content in this vlog, so I hope you've enjoyed it. What I have not done is really go for a walk, and I really want to get a nice picture of the Paper Palace with some water, and I've got an idea of where to do it, where I might be able to match the line of the land with the line of the land. So that could mean we go on a walk because of a book, but that shows that books are not just good for your mental health, they're good for your physical health. So that's the plan today. Also need to go and see if we can get some curtains, because grey ain't doing it for me. And tidy the house from top to bottom before Her Royal Highness Louise of Savage arrives. I'll have a catch up with you when I'm up, and we can have a talk about how I'm getting on with Opal and Nev and prize burnout possibly and stuff in a bit. Hi everyone, I'm up and dressed, and it must be Sunday because I seem to always wear this new hoodie every time it's Sunday. How nice is that looking that that's full? This is empty because I've kind of at some point on this channel talked to you about all of those 10. I haven't had a catch up with you on my thoughts on Opal and Nev, and I thought what I'd do is just have a roundup of stuff. This video is really, really long, and I'm aware. Back to Opal and Nev. I tried to dip into this in the book form, and it wasn't quite working, but I'd heard how amazing the audiobook was, and it was perfect to listen to, well, it was perfect timing to listen to an audiobook as I was sorting out this room and also the library. So this is the library and the spare rooms. Anyway, it's brilliant. I really, really like this book, and I have to say I think the audio adds an extra something. The way this is told is a bit like I imagine, I've not read it, Daisy Jones and the Sixes, where it's interview sort of snippets, and there's some really lovely moments between Opal's sister Pearl and a pastor where they kind of, there's just this delightful sort of snarky bickering that I really, really love. Anyway, we are finding out through partly through an editor who's putting together a book about Opal and Nev, who were a really successful music band together. He came from the UK and she was from America, and it's how, after kind of being a bit of a recluse, Opal decides now is the time to possibly like have a comeback, which of course there's been loads of comebacks in the last few years. I was even wearing a Spice Girls t-shirt on Friday. Speaking of comebacks, I hope they do another tour. Anyway, moving on, but with Victoria. I lost my train of thought then, talking about the Spice Girls. What was I going to say? As we go through, not only we're getting sort of, I don't normally like music books, but I'm finding hearing about what was going on with the music scene in America and the UK really interesting, particularly in the UK with the black music movement and how that informed so many other pop bands and kind of moved things on really, although not always to the credit of the black acts involved. But also we get a lot about history of America, particularly as a black person. So I just feel like it's one of those books that's given me loads of information and thought, but not really obviously, but also the characters are really fully formed, even though it's through transcript, which it might be because the actors doing the audiobook are phenomenal. But yeah, this one I didn't think I was going to love, and I am really loving it. Revelations are coming to the fore, which is a theme of all the books that I think I've read, well, certainly the last 3 that I've read on the long list. There's lots of revelations from the past, as there is with Elif Shafak. Yeah, oh, that's a thought. Anyway, what I haven't talked about for ages is Louise Erdrich, and that's partly because I seem to have just stopped reading it. I don't think Ewan's reading it that quickly. Because of my flair and everything, I haven't caught up with him, but I need to. I just sort of, this one's gone a bit on the back burner for me, and I'm not quite sure why. I don't know if it was, I think it was the fact that I think I used the term bemused. It's bemused me a lot rather than amused me or enthralled me. But I will keep at it. I'm about, well, I'm not that much further on than I was before. I'm about 200 pages in. It's definitely one I want to keep going on, but this for me was like dead cert when I started reading. So will it be in my top 6 on my shortlist? You'll have to wait and watch the video with me and Mum to see. Now, these 4, I am going to, before Mum arrives, dip into them. What I was thinking is, let me know if you are finding there's a bit of prize burnout, because I'm feeling a bit burnt out by the prize at the moment. I think it's just because I'm not used to reading this in this condense. I didn't time it properly. I was judging another prize at the beginning. I've got some reading that I've had to do for work, etc, etc. I've not had as much time, although I'm feeling better because Mum has struggled this year as well. I think partly because I bought all the books myself, but they sent Mum the books really late, and also, as I've mentioned, I think here and there, my stepdad cut his finger off with the circular saw, and it's all been quite full on. He's doing fine. He's going to be here tomorrow, and it's his birthday tomorrow, actually. I think I've just been feeling prize burnt out personally, but also I was a bit like, there is so much content about the women's and indeed the International Booker at the moment. Is it too much content for you? Would me doing a try a chapter or try 50 pages tag kind of video with these be of interest as an extra video in the forthcoming weeks? Or would you rather just wait for the video with me and my mum and I focus on the books, which I'm planning on doing? I will not be reading. I'm not going to read those in full imminently. What I'm going to do is wait and see what the shortlist is after me and mum predicted ours, and read the shortlist in full, whichever ones I haven't read yet. Hopefully Elif is definitely going to be on there. There's no questions about that in my mind. That'll leave me with 5, because I would really like to reread Poppy Show / This One Sky Day. And I think as well, actually, if Ruth Ezeki is on the shortlist, I'd like to reread that one. Anyway, going off on tangents, what I need to be doing is going off and going on a walk, because I want to get a nice picture with Paper Palace. So I'll take you there and then I will sign off. But like I said, let me know your thoughts on, is there too much book prize content going on at the moment? Have you had enough? Oddly, I've had enough of me talking about prizes, but I've not had enough of other people talking about them. And also, let me know about a second channel, and also leave an orange emoji of some sort in the comments, or whatever, however you want to do it. And that's all and everything. And I'll leave you with some final clips. Bye.